Up gamers, it's JP coming at you with another Story Up review here at Story Up Games, where story reigns. Today we're talking about The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, Episode 1. Now, New Frontier is Season 3 in Telltale's series of The Walking Dead, and I'm a huge fan of Season 1 and 2. There's such great experiences, such good storytelling games, and I often tell people that they're the type of game you should play if you're not really in the mood to play a video game. And that's not a knock on these types of games, or a knock on Telltale games at all. It's more commentary on how the gameplay is a little bit less engaging, but that the experience is so worth your time if you're into good story. And apart from the great storytelling, the other strength of the game is the connectedness you feel with the characters, along with the sense of ownership that you feel over the characters. And when I talk about Season 1 and 2, it's all about my Lee from Season 1 and what he would have done, or my Clementine from Season 2 and how she reacted to a certain situation. This sense of ownership stems from the fact that your choices and your decisions in these games are what shape the characters and shape the story, and that's what makes these games a lot of fun. So this first episode opens by introducing us to our new protagonist, Javi Garcia, along with his family. And I'm really a big fan of the opening. It's one of the best opening scenes I've played in any Telltale game. It's really well directed, it's very cinematic and emotional. It's really thought-provoking, so I was super impressed by that. And that pace is kept up throughout the rest of the hour-and-a-half long episode. There's a lot of excitement throughout the episode, there's some twists as well. It was really well-paced and really entertaining episode to play. Now let's talk about gameplay for a minute. For those not familiar with the Telltale games, the gameplay is really just point-and-click interactions with objects in the environment and interacting with the people you're traveling with. The interactions with the other people is about the conversations you're having and the choices you make in those conversations. You typically have 3 to 4 dialogue options of how you're going to choose to react or what you're going to say to somebody about a certain situation. And it's those choices that help mold your character to who you want them to be. And you also get to make decisions that help shape the story. So whether you choose one path or another, it slightly changes the experience you have while playing. At the end of the episode, you get to see the 5 big decisions from that episode and how gamers from around the world playing the game reacted to that situation. It's actually quite gratifying in some cases, and sometimes you're puzzled as to why a majority chose to do what they chose to do. There's also a few quick time events when you're trying to kill a zombie or dodge a zombie, but those are really just push X at the right time or dodge right at the right time, so not a whole lot going on there, but I appreciate that the quick time events are there to change up the pace. I had a great time playing Episode 1 of Season 3, but there were a couple things I found disappointing. Telltale gives you the option to import your save from Season 2, and that makes you feel like the choices you made in Season 2 are going to matter. But this game is set a few years apart, and the way that they chose to wrap up the ending I had was pretty unfulfilling. And the other thing I was a little bit disappointed in was the returning character of Clementine. Now, she is a few years older than when we last saw her in Season 2, but I just felt like my Clementine was a different person than the Clementine that we're playing with now. And this is important because I feel like I've lost that sense of ownership, you know? She feels like a different person than the one that I played with for 2 seasons worth of The Walking Dead. But at the same time, I gotta understand that this game is a few years apart, and maybe that's just her growing up, right? But these are minor gripes, to be sure. I'm just excited to be playing another Walking Dead story, and I think Telltale's off to a great start with this season. So here at Story Up Games, we don't give review scores, we just tell you whether or not a game was worth your time from start to finish. Now with a Telltale game, it's a little bit different because the game comes out in 5 episodes typically, spread out over a year. So we're not actually going to find out if the whole game was worth our time till sometime next year. This first episode only takes an hour and a half to play, so if you're a fan of other Telltale games, if you're a fan of the first 2 Walking Dead seasons, or if you're just a fan of The Walking Dead in general, I think this game is definitely worth your time. Remains to be seen if it stays that way, but we'll find out as the season goes on. So that's it for me here today at Story Up Games. We'll be back again soon with another story to review. Episode 2 of The Walking Dead is already out, and so I'm hoping to get that out to you within the next week or 2, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel so you know when we go live, and leave me a comment. Let me know if Clementine turned out a little different than you expected. As always, I will catch you on another time.